Mortal Kombat stretches across a wide variety of media. Sometimes, though fairly rare, I come across something that I never knew existed, and I'm usually pretty pleasantly surprised. Recently though, during one of my searches, I had the misfortune of coming across a movie called Immortal Combat: The Code. Now my first thought was, damn, they don't have any Mortal Kombat content, on to the next. But there was this little voice inside of my head that just said, no, this could all be worth it. So for you, my friends, and for science, I decided to give the knockoff Mortal Kombat a chance, and what a decision it would prove to be. Now, I'm pretty sure most of us have seen the Mortal Kombat Legacy series and the TV show Mortal Kombat Conquest. I'm pretty sure most of us have seen the Mortal Kombat animated series, Defenders of the Realm, and I'm almost certain we've all seen the new recent releases, Mortal Kombat Legends animated installments. Now, the quality of these IPs vary vastly, and we've definitely seen our fair share of bad fight scenes, but the fight scenes in this movie definitely take the cake, as you will soon see. To be fair, this movie doesn't really try much to be like Mortal Kombat, other than the blatant rip-off title, Immortal Combat, come on, and a cover art that shows us a female Raiden-like character that we literally never see in the movie. Now, I know I'm probably gonna get some hate in the comments for this one, but I'm just gonna say it. This story, not unlike Mortal Kombat actually, is a convoluted, complicated, contradictory, nonsensical menagerie of unintelligible bullshit. However, I will attempt to explain the story as best as I understand it. So as backstory, we'll go ahead and let you know that the story takes place in a day and age where pollution and radiation have become so bad that the only way that human beings can survive is by having a device called a bioscanner implanted into one's arm. Now, the bioscanner acts as a shield, blocking deadly radiation, and it also acts as an air filtration device, turning otherwise unbreathable toxic smog into rich, clean, breathable oxygen. Now, at some point, for some reason, the bioscanners begin to fail and people start to die. And with the death toll at 10 million, unless a new code is implemented for the failing bioscanners, humanity will quickly die off into extinction. This is where the combat stuff comes into play, because apparently, even though this said new code has been developed, it is currently in the hands of some not so nice people who want to control who can use the code and who can't, thus deciding who lives and dies. This is where we are introduced to a group of people called the Elements, which is a group of individuals who seek to find and distribute the new code to the world. I guess there are 5 elements, but they are never fully explained, as there seem to be entire groups or clans of certain elements in some instances, and then just a single person in others. Like there's a water clan, but there's also a water woman. She's just named Water. And there is a fire clan, and then there is a guy that they call Fire. So I just don't really understand. It doesn't really make sense because they don't explain it, but let's just take it for what it is and continue. So there's lots of elements that get thrown around. As I said, there's a water, there's a fire, there's a wood and earth, a cloud, a gold. There's a lot of them. The movie starts out in a jungle with our protagonist, whose name is Cloud. He appears to be running from someone, as the look on his face seems very frantic. It appears they were right because the group of men catch up to him and a battle ensues. And then out of nowhere, a lady who doesn't appear to have any martial arts background whatsoever just appears out of nowhere and just starts helping him. Oh, and her name is Water apparently. So after they beat up the first random group of men, a new random group of men appear out of nowhere like freaking Predator from the 1987 classic Predator. That's my favorite movie of all time, by the way. But yes, the group of men appear out of nowhere and they hit Cloud in the head with the butt of the gun. Look out! And the woman was shot with some type of tiny dart or something. So here's where we get the narration, which explains everything that I just explained to you in the beginning. So we'll skip past that. Okay, so randomly he is just back in his bed. Yes, the last scene he was just getting hit with the butt of a gun, and apparently they just think we forgot because now again he is back in his bed. He calls someone on his bioscanner. Yes, apparently these are cell phones too, and he agrees to meet with someone. Now before he leaves out, we get a glimpse of the news.
Yes, you heard that right. The death toll now sits at 10 million. The thinning of the ozone layer and pollution.
Maybe could have sounded a little bit more like this.
Tom, I'm standing here outside a Spooner Street home where a local business owner has apparently eaten himself into his own food truck.
And then out of nowhere, yet again, another random group of men appear and they put him in an ambulance where, yes, yet another random fight ensues. He appears to have beat them all up, and out of nowhere, Water and a man named Dr. Dave of the Wind Clan show up and say that they are tracking Emma's killer, who at the moment we don't know anything of, and they say it led them to Cloud's apartment. You should probably remember this because it's not really ever brought up again and it doesn't really make any sense. We also find out that there's a group of men called the 411s who seem to be the ones after Cloud. We then cut to seeing a sick child laying in the bed next to his mother. Apparently he is going to die unless they get the cure which they believe the elements possess. It is something called the Green Stone. There's a man that says he can get the elements to cooperate, but the mother insists that he take it by force, shooting him with the dart and saying that it will stay lodged in him until the cure for her son is found. We then get a quick scene where we see the group of men who hit Cloud in the head appear out of thin air yet once again. They realize that they are too late as Cloud is no longer in the ambulance. Now, how in the hell they lost him when they knocked him unconscious with the butt of the gun? It makes no sense, but yeah, we're gonna continue. In the next scene, we see a group of men who are later identified as Gold, Wood, and Fire. They are seen training together and doing some absolutely atrocious acting and some even worse fighting. And let me just say this to be fair, that they definitely look like actual martial artists who are real athletes and can probably actually do all of these stunts. The problem is that when they try to do the moves on each other, it's just not very believable. Next, we see a man who is akin to young Jeezy. Apparently this man's name is Earth, and he is actually the leader of Gold, Wood, and Fire. He tells the three to go after Cloud as he received a call asking for assistance. So apparently the company that is producing this new code is called Medican, and the main man at Medican is named the Doc, or something of the sort. And evidently he has escaped the facility where he was working on this said code because they are looking for him and cannot find him. Now, we as the audience actually catch up to him. He's actually at a bar where, after a super weird scene where he's basically bullied for only wanting a soda, a group of guys confront him demanding that he turn over the code. And of course he declines. But before they can beat him to a pulp, Cloud shows up to save the day, and then we cue the random fight scene. And of course Cloud and Doc open a can of whip ass, and they get the job done, and they get out of there. Now after they leave, we see those same group of men come into the bar, and well, they slay everybody. They did this to her. They can see the Doc has been there recently, so they quickly leave in search of their man. Now, there are actually two different groups after Doc. Now, even though it isn't made clear, eventually one can ascertain that the first group is a group of mercenaries and the second group would be the 411s. Okay, so this next part is pretty confusing, but it's kind of important to understand it if you can. We once again catch up to Cloud, Water, and Dr. Dave. Water expresses to Cloud that she is concerned because they were, quote, tracking Emma's killer and happened to stumble across Cloud. She's beginning to think that Cloud may have had something to do with Emma's death, who we now find out was Water's sister. Cloud tells her that he had nothing to do with the murder of Emma, and here's where the confusing part starts. He tells her a story about his ex-boss and his ex-boss's sick son, who was drastically affected by the radiation. His boss wanted him to infiltrate the elements and get the green stone to cure his son. This is where Emma comes into play, because apparently they were aware that Emma was the leader of the Water Clan, and he was working to get closer to her. He tells her that in the process of training to become a part of the elements, he finds himself almost forgetting his original objective. Now, if you look at some of these people that he in the background training with, it is highly ridiculous that any of these people are part of any clan that is a martial arts or of any self-respecting fighting club of any sort. So eventually Earth and the Grand Master were beginning to grow suspicious of Cloud and were keeping a close eye on him. At some point, Earth confronts him, pointing out that he knows that he is a part of the 411s. Cloud renounces his loyalty to the 411s and pledges loyalty exclusively to the elements. Earth says that he understood his motives as he was trying to save a child, and he accepts his allegiance to the element. This is the rather confusing part, because Earth says that he wants Cloud to keep up the pretense with his boss, basically making Cloud a double agent of both the 411s and the elements. Now, the part that doesn't make any sense is how exactly are you going to do this? His whole plan from the get-go was to basically steal the green stone. So it would seem his newfound allegiance to the elements would inhibit him from being able to carry out his mission. So I'm confused how he would be able to keep up with the ruse. Ironically, the next scene is Cloud's boss demanding answers, as he had not delivered the goods. Cloud tried to lie and tell him that he had been mistaken all along and that the elements were in possession of no stone. However, apparently the 411s had proof of otherwise, and furthermore they found out about him changing sides, and so he was to be executed. Cue the random fight scene with someone's auntie and some of the worst acting that we've ever seen. Everybody then stands back, and then this fake Sub-Zero noob Cybot looking guy comes out. I guess this makes it more Mortal Kombat-y, maybe? Whatever the case, the fake Sub-Zero lays the smackdown on Cloud. His boss then walks up and says that traitors deserve to die a slow and painful death before impaling Cloud with his sword, which I actually thought was a cane this whole time. Wait, is it a cane, or is it like a cane sword? Is that a thing? Anyways, they left him for dead, and under any normal circumstances, he would probably bleed out and die a slow and painful death. But this is movie magic. And of course, out of thin air shows up someone who appears to be Earth, who actually saves Cloud. So after that confusing, jumbled up menagerie of a story that he gives her, Water explains that even though Cloud didn't directly kill her, he was indirectly involved with her murder, as he was affiliated with the 411s, and they were the main suspects. So which at the end of that, she goes ahead and hands out a good old-fashioned passionate ass whooping, and dude's probably getting his shoes coat and his hat took him. Sorry. So Cloud and this dude who wears red, I forgot his name, and Water were on their way to the monastery, which I had no clue what that was until I looked it up. Earth actually calls them and lets them know that he sent wood, fire, and gold to help them out, and that they must press forward without delay. Chat slap! We then cut to a scene where the group of mercenaries are attempting to torture the Doc. How they even got him is unclear, because the last we saw him, he escaped the bar with Cloud, so I guess? But let's continue. So there's a short dialogue between Doc and someone who I believe is the leader of the mercenaries. He says that he knows the Doc has the code, and he demands that he hand it over. The Doc feels that because he developed it, it is his to do whatever he pleases, and he wants the entire world to have it. The mercenary sees things differently and state that it's his employer, Medican, who actually owned the code. Finally, after failed attempts to uncover the code, the mercenary orders the henchman to do whatever is necessary. We then get a part straight out of a horror movie. Like, this dude literally looks like a knockoff Batman villain, like seriously.
The game is about to begin. Where should I start? No.
We then catch back up with Firewood and Gold, who are at the bar. They use some ability that lets Gold envision the events that took place in the past at the bar. It is unclear exactly what they ascertain from what they see, but they do decide to split up. Gold will go and report to Earth, and after, attempt to observe the mercenaries, while Fire and Wood will try and hunt down the 411s. Also, this scene is hilarious to me for some reason. Like, the music just gets super loud for no reason.
Sometime one needs to intervene to correct not only one's path, but for all to seek a better path.
We once again visit Cloud's ex-boss and the sick child. We see a new character who's introduced, well, I say introduced, but I'll use that term very loosely. Her name is Yin. She brings vital news to the mother of the child. Ready for this? She tells her that Doc may have given the code to Neil. Who the hell is that? We actually don't know. So go to hell, movie, because we don't know who Neil is, and I don't know why you expect me to care. Now, I will go ahead and tell you guys now, because I'm not going to leave you in the dark. Surprise, surprise, Cloud's name is Neil. I don't know why they just switch it up mid-movie, like, oh, he's Neil now, but he was Cloud before. Okay, yeah, so, and anyways, they act like the plot thickens after we find out that, oh, Neil might have the code now. By the way, look at these people training. It is abysmal. So it literally doesn't add any stakes. And if you actually think about it, they left him for dead. That guy impaled him with his cane sword. So why would they even think he was alive for them to go get the code from him? They should think he's dead. Go to hell, movie.
Yes. This is piss poor writing if I've ever seen it. Yes, I'm an expert at cinematography.
Like, no, for real, are you even trying? Like, the continuity. Let's just continue. All right, so this next part is very boring and it barely makes any sense, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to speed through it. Yin pulls up to a bar, presumably because she believes that either Cloud or the mercenaries are there. I guess she was right because she sees the leader of the mercenaries, Fire and Wood, sitting there having a conversation. I guess she calls herself disguised as a waitress, even though it's pretty bad, because you can tell that she is trying to ease her up on the conversation. Fire and Wood told the mercenary to back off of Cloud, last they would be forced to use violence. However, the mercenary seems undeterred, claiming that he and his team possess weapons of mass destruction against the elements, tiny hands, and swords. He then explains why he's even after Cloud in the first place. He basically tells them that Cloud stole tech, i.e. the new code, which I'm assuming is actually true. We don't know if he has the code or not. He tells them that he may have some disconcerting information about one of their members, Water. They don't believe him and they insist that they know everything and that he could have nothing new to offer. I'm assuming they're talking about Emma's murder, but we have to guess because it isn't made clear. The mercenary finally tells them that he believes that Doc may have slipped the tech to Cloud, possibly without him even knowing. He asks them what they can offer him, and then he gets a call and tells them, guess who? We as the audience have no clue. It isn't him today. We don't know. We then catch back up to Water, Cloud, and Dr. Dave. That's that man's name, Dr. Dave. Dr. Dave brings word to them that the 411s are near and that they must keep moving. Naturally, though, as soon as they walk out, they are confronted by none other than a random group of 411s. and random battle ensues. And just when we lost all hope, Gold, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Gold, Earth, Wood, and Fire drop in to see what the 411 was. With the 411. That you won't say it to my face, fishy boy. It only takes a few kicks and punches from the 4 to send the pack running with their tails tucked between their legs. Better run, little bitches. Earth does another one of his little checkups on Cloud, and he demands that they get him to the monastery at once. His bioscanner is not functioning properly. I don't know where that came from, but also, even though it wasn't visible during the vision, Gold says that he saw Doc slip Cloud something at the bar, suggesting it was the new tech that they have been alluding to, this code that they have been talking about. And apparently Earth doesn't believe them because he sends Fire and Wood to go and verify that Doc did in fact slip something to Cloud. He wants them to do so again by telling them to tail the mercenaries. He doesn't want them to actually engage. I guess he thinks that they're going to get their little heinies whipped. And then he sends Gold to trail the 411s also not to engage because they outnumber you. Like, the plot points in this movie absolutely suck. Okay, it's like, oh, at first we had Gold going after the mercenaries, and now we switched it up, and we got Gold going after the 411s, and instead of Fire and Wood going after the 411s, we have them going after the mercenaries. It just gets better and better. Anyways, back to the movie. Water is still blaming Cloud for her sister's death. They're supposed to be getting Cloud to the monastery. I guess there's no such thing as cars in this day and age. Like, they literally never address why they don't just get in a damn car and just drive there. But for whatever reason, they find themselves in a parking lot again, confronted by, you guessed it, another group of random men. A fight consisting of exactly 4 kicks ensues, which is interrupted by the worst sounding gunshots in cinematic history. Ever. No, deadass. It sounds like the PP7 from GoldenEye. I just don't understand why you would use that sound. Why'd you pick that sound? So then members of the mercenary group are seen walking up immediately after those gunshots, but luckily for our entertainment's sake, Gold sneaks up behind them and proceeds to pull off one of the most dynamic stealth kill sequences I've witnessed in recent memory. Yeah, attaboy. Let's get him. Okay, it was ass. Okay, while that sequence was pretty bad, it is well worth noting that he pulled off quite literally the most impressive kick that I have ever seen. Honestly, look at the technique. Technique. I watch combat sports, UFC, and One Championship and all that stuff. And this kick is a feat that I've personally never seen in the octagon. So, yeah. Take that for what it is. So I'm not exactly sure how, but Cloud ends up walking by himself and he's confronted by yet another random group of men. He defeats them and Water and Dr. Dave casually walk up. I mean, like, where were you guys at before? Dr. Dave then agrees to accompany Cloud to the monastery as Water states she needs to catch up with her clan. Dr. Dave and Cloud then come to a boat where a man welcomes them aboard. He then signals the captain to head to the monastery. We then see Cloud, and who I believe to be the captain of the ship, having a conversation about Doc and Cloud at the bar. When they get off the ship, they are confronted by his ex-boss, and of course, a random fight ensues. That is until the police pull up and everybody scatters. We then see Yin, who confronts the mercenaries and tries to join forces with them, but instead, she's killed. We then see Gold confronted by the mercenaries with guns drawn. We don't actually know the outcome of this though because the scene cuts before we can see what happens. Earth and Water then find Cloud, and we find out that he received a booster shot from Doc, whatever that means. Water suggested that they just give Cloud up, and she also asks Earth why he never disclosed that Cloud was a part of the 411s. Because if you remember, he found out that Cloud was a part of the 411s, but he never told anybody else. Earth then says that he senses the 411s and says that they must leave. How does that make any sense? I don't know. So this is where we start to put everything together. Apparently the booster was the new code, and the booster that allows for the clean air and the radiation to be blocked, it wasn't meant for individuals. And since it is on an individual with Cloud, it is causing his bioscanner to overload. This is also causing his cold-like symptoms and will ultimately lead to his death if not removed. Out of nowhere, we see the mother and the father of the sick child. The mother then begins to tell them that she had a deal with Emma. Emma would smuggle the code out for the survival of her son. However, it appears that the mercenaries may have gotten to Emma first. The mother states that Cloud's chi is running rampant and only she can help before it gets worse. We then see the mother shoot Cloud with something from a katana-like fan, which makes him jump. Now he gets up like he's ready to fight, but Earth comes up to him and tells him to relax. He also tells him to call to his chi, which what the hell is that? They haven't told us anything about any chi. The mother says that the faster they extract the code, the faster that he will heal, and thus the faster that they can produce clean air for the masses. The mother insists that Cloud come with them. However, Earth declines this demand because Cloud is currently meditating. And of course, it wouldn't be right unless a random fight ensued right now. Okay, so like, here's our big finale, and I have no idea how, but some random sniper just kills everybody. Oh, and you know I wasn't about to let this slide. By the way, look at this CGI gunshot. What the why? Just use ketchup. Well, I guess not everybody was killed because these damn mercenaries just won't die.
Why won't you die?
Well, we then get the plot twist. Are you guys ready for this? The whole entire time, right underneath our noses, the killer of Emma and the traitor of everybody was Fire and Gold. They double-crossed Gold and were actually the reason for him being killed. They killed him. They killed him. Apparently, their greed had blinded them, and they made a deal with the mercenaries to steal the intel in exchange for wealth. We also find out, get this, these are the people who killed Emma. They say that they would have kept her alive, but she refused to give up her research, which really makes no sense because they still have no research. Like, they're still looking for the new code. They still don't have it. And then apparently Marcus, yes, we finally find out that the leader of those mercenaries' name was Marcus. No, we did not know that the entire movie. He killed everyone at Medican, so once they get their hands on the code, it will be exclusively under his control. And let me just also say this. Remember in the beginning when they said they were tracking Emma's killer and that it led them to Cloud's apartment? It doesn't really make any sense. If it was Fire and Wood, why would it lead them to Cloud's apartment? Yeah, I don't know either, Cloud. We then get our random fight scene, which is so ridiculous because they act like it goes all day long, all the way until the night, with Earth, Water, and Fire and Wood. And also the mercenaries are helping as well. And the whole time, Cloud is just on cloud 9, chilling, just meditating, not doing anything. Like, I thought he was gonna turn Super Saiyan or something. I really did think we were gonna see a big transformation, and like maybe the movie would be all worth it right here. No. I mean, he does get up at the end like he turned Super Saiyan, but nothing looks different about him. He just has a hoodie on, and he's magically able to fight all three guys at the same time, and of course kick their asses. That's basically the end. I mean, they tell us that in the end, Medican was liquidated, but let's not forget everybody was killed. And of course, the new code was implemented and distributed to the world. Overall, I have to say I give this movie a 2 out of 10. And the only reason I even give it 2 because I know that they did put effort into this movie. I know that these people do look like real martial artists, real athletes, and I'm sure that they're very good in their respective crafts. However, in this movie, the acting, the choreography, the story, it just wasn't there for me. It wasn't really a great experience, but at least I did go through the movie for you guys so you don't have to watch through an hour and 20 minutes of a pretty bad movie. And hopefully the video here is only about 20 minutes or so, and you're able to get the gist of what the movie is about. That is all I got for you guys today. Please, if you like the review, please leave me a like. The first time I've ever done a movie review. They're gonna get better. I would also recommend subscribing, as not only am I a content creator, I'm a content consumer, and I like a lot of the same things that you guys like, and I like to be subscribed to those channels as well. But that is my time, did my thing. It's the third Sub-Zero. Wait, shit, y'all.